Nice, thanks for joining me again today. Let's do a little bit of slow flow. Slow flow is sort of a step between restorative and the yoga for core strength. So we're on the knees a little bit, we do a little bit more movement than we would do in a restorative class, but it's still predominantly stretching, even though you're going to be moving around more and using your core more. So let's drop your ear to your shoulder. It doesn't matter which ear, either your right ear to your right shoulder or your left ear to your left shoulder. To intensify that, you push your opposite hand into the floor next to you, and if you want, you can use your free hand to pull your ear closer to your shoulder. You can even massage at the upper trapezius muscle. It's that really fleshy part of the top of your shoulder, and a lot of us carry tension there. It's a really overutilized muscle, compensates for a lot of things, and that's where a lot of us hold stress and tension. Good. Let's take it to the other side, whatever's opposite for you. Let's inhale, tilt your chin up. Exhale, tuck your chin down to one of your shoulders. And inhale, up back to center, and over to the other side. And just so forth and so on, your own pace, your own range of motion. The next time the chin comes up, leave it up, and then you're going to exhale, tuck your chin straight down to the center of your chest. Try to flatten out the back of the neck toward the ceiling as best you can. If you've ever had whiplash or any kind of cervical disc condition, this is as far as you'll go. But if you can and you want to, you can interlace your fingers above your head and gently press your hands down on the back of your head. And release. Let's alternate dipping the shoulders over the opposite knee. This should give you a nice stretch through the pectorals. From here, let's take our seated cat and cow. We'll round up through the backs of your shoulders. Inhale, press up and forward with your chest and your chin. Just nice forward and back, arching and flexing. If you like, you can always add to that your Sufi grind, and this gets a little deeper into the hips, but it's not so great for anybody who has any kind of vestibular or parietal problem. So any vertigo, Meniere's, that kind of thing. If you get dizzy easily, this might be something to skip. And bring it up back to center. Let's inhale the arms up overhead from the sides. Really lift your ribs up away from your hips. And we're going to alternate reaching the hands. So you should get a stretch sort of in the upper ribs on the sides of your body. And let's bring the shoulders down the back. We'll twist to one side, it doesn't matter which side, and one hand in front and one hand in back. Inhale the arms up back to center, over to the other side. Inhale up back to center, over to the other side. So you can take this at your own pace and range of motion. You want to inhale to float your arms up and exhale to settle the hands down. arms come up overhead, leave them there, drop the fingertips to the shoulders, the elbows out to the side, and now twist from side to side. And as always, you can take your gaze with you, or you can leave your head facing forward, just depending on what's comfortable for you. It's just a matter of personal preference, no right or wrong. And then back to center. Let's bring one arm down and the other arm up overhead. We'll dip to the side. Again, it doesn't matter which side you'd like to do first. Up back to center and over to the other side. And up back to center, and we'll drop the hands back. Bring your hands up as high behind you as you can and pull the elbows to the wall behind you. Then we'll drop the hands down by your tailbone. Try to straighten the elbows. Tuck your chin to your chest and just swing your head from side to side as you pull your hands toward the floor. If you're of a mind to do so, from here you can also lean forward and take your hands with you. And bring it up. Let's bring one arm, doesn't matter which arm, out and across your body. Grab hold of your wrist with your opposite hand, pull your wrist down and away from you toward the floor, and simultaneously pull your shoulder up and back toward the ceiling. So the wrist pulls down, the shoulder pulls up. If you need more, you can pull your elbow out and forward and get a little deeper. The stretch should be around the curve of your shoulder blade or somewhere between your shoulder blades. And release. Out and across. Down and away with the wrist. Up and back with the shoulder. Out and forward with the elbow if you like. And release. We're going to stick out our feet and circle the ankles. We'll pull the toes back, give yourself a little reach forward. So we're getting into the superficial part of the hamstring, so this muscle closer to the skin. We'll now address the part of the hamstring that's closer to the bone. This is a much deeper, more interior feeling stretch. So you just tuck one foot in, it doesn't matter which, and you line up your big toe to your nose, keeping your hips level. Some people end up on the diagonal. We don't want that. We want the hips level. That's what's going to isolate the stretch in this way. And then again, you reach forward. And let's switch sides. So again, the big toe lines up with your nose. It's often, out more by your shoulder, but we want it to be lined up right directly with your nose. Let's pull this foot in to meet your other one. So the soles of the feet are together. You can butterfly your knees just a little bit. We're going to take the box twists next, and then if we want, we can take it up into Stargazer. I'll offer you a baby bear if you need one for your knees. The baby bear is to stick out one foot and you take your metronome toe. You just take your big toe forward and backward like a metronome. Your hip comes off the floor and then it comes back onto the floor. So that's your baby bear. The box twist, you tuck your foot in so that your heel points at your hip. And on that side, you press the hip up and forward, down and back. Up and forward, down and back. So as you take the hip up and forward, you'll feel the stretch on the hip flexors. As you take it down and back, you'll feel it more towards the bottom of the quads on the distal ends. This is a good place to go first. If you are of a mind to do so, you can extend the leg back out and press your back hip up and forward so that you come onto your shin and your sole for stargazer. But doing a few box twists first is always advisable. In the slow flow setting, we haven't done a lot of movement just yet, so I want to make sure you're nice and warm before you make bigger movements. And let's change sides. So a few little box twists and then a few little stargazers. If you like, you can keep the box twist or you can take the stargazer. From here, let's come into all fours on hands and knees. We'll take a bit of a flow through here. So, the first thing let's do is bring your knees together and sit into the outsides of the hips. Just get the outsides of your hips going. As always, you don't have to be in your on your palms of your hands. You can be in your gorilla fists with your wrists straight, or you could be on your forearms. Good, and release. Let's step your right foot through and walk your hands and hips forward for lizard. So you're dropping your hip as far forward as you can. You should feel a stretch on the front of your left hip. If you don't feel it there, you might feel it on the inside or underside of your right thigh. That's fine. All right, let's go a little deeper with this. You can come up to your knee. You can bring your arms up overhead, or you can interlace your fingers behind you and drop back. If you like, you can come forward and backward. It's tricky on the core, so be careful. From here, let's bring the arms back up overhead and bring your hands together. Bring the left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Then let's bring the right hand on the inside of your right arch. Pick up to your left knee, put your left arch on the floor, take your left arm up overhead. You can leave your right knee bent, or you can straighten your right knee for a revolved triangle. Then you can bring that left hand down, pivot back onto the ball of your left foot, come down to your left knee, and we'll take thirsty giraffe. So you leave your right leg or your right foot where it is, extend your right knee as much as you can, and pull your right sitting bone back like you're trying to touch the wall behind you with your sitting bone. What not to do is this. If you let your toes come up and you lose your balance, there's no good place for your knee to go. You're going to the doctor. Keep your toes down. Even if they don't touch the floor, keep them pointing down. You should get a nice stretch down the whole back side of your thigh. And let's walk it forward. Take this right foot over to your left side, drop the right knee, and come down into pigeon. If pigeon's not for you, you can flip over onto your back and take your threaded needles with your right ankle over your left knee and pulling your left knee into your chest. Then let's come onto the palms of the hands. Curl your left toes under, pick your left knee up off of the floor, and come all the way up and back into downward facing dog. And then drop down into a child's pose. On the other side, let's come into all fours, on hands and knees. I'm changing directions so that I'll be facing you. You don't have to do that at home. Let's take your left foot forward. Your hands and hips come forward. So you should get that nice stretch on the front of your right hip flexors. Although if you're very tight on the back part of your body, you might get it on the inside or underside of the left hip or thigh. From here, let's come onto the onto the knee, hands to the knee. The arms can come up overhead, or again, you can interlace your fingers and drop your hands back. If you're of a mind to do so, you can go forward and backward. And let's bring the arms up overhead, palms together, your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Then let's bring the left hand down in front of the left arch. We're going to curl your right toes under, pick your right knee up, set your right arch to the floor. Your right arm comes up overhead. You can leave your left knee bent, or you can try to straighten it. Bring the right hand down, pivot onto the ball of your right foot. Your right knee comes down, thirsty giraffe. Leave your left foot where it is. Try to straighten your knee as much as you can. Remember that you don't want your hip forward. You want to pull your hip back like you're trying to touch the wall behind you with the tip of your sitting bone. The toes need to stay down. If you think you get a better stretch by doing that, you might be feeling more tension, but remember that the stretch sensation exists to tell you when you are about to go too far. So we don't want you to hurt your knee and either hyperextend or lose your balance and not have a good place for your knee to go. Then we're going to walk it in and over for your pigeon. And as always, you can flip over onto your back if you need to for threaded needles. Just looking for a stretch on the outside of the left hip, thigh, and buttock. That's all we're after. Let's come back onto the palms of your hands. Curl your right toes under, pick your right knee up, and press up and back into downward facing dog. And release the knees. Uncurl the toes, push hips back to heels for child's pose. Let's come back up to all fours on hands and knees. So let's take your left palm to face the ceiling. Thread your left hand under your right underarm. Keep reaching until you can get your left shoulder on the floor. If you can get your left shoulder on the floor, you can set your left ear down. If your shoulder doesn't quite make it to the floor, don't put your ear down unless you're sure you can keep all of your weight out of your neck. We don't want you to snap a tendon in the neck. Reseat the left hand, come back up to center, and we'll take it on the other side. The right palm to face the ceiling, threads under the left armpit. If you can get the shoulder down, you can set the ear down too. And reseat the left hand, come back to center. Let's curl your toes under, and you'll walk your hips back towards your heels. If you can, come up to standing on your knees. So it's a really intense stretch under the toes and the underside of your foot, but it helps prevent hammer toes. It keeps the tendons under the toes lengthened. It stretches out the plantar fascia and lots of other muscles and tendons and ligaments and so forth in your feet. Good, we'll come back up into all fours. Let's come onto your belly, and we'll take Sphinx pose. So you bring your forearms pretty close together, and up on your elbows, you will lift up your chest and you drop your pelvis forward, and that should give you a nice little stretch down the midline of your body. And then we'll come all the way down. You can kick your heels up to your hips, and you can just drop them from side to side as a baby bear. As a mama bear, you can grab hold of your feet wherever they happen to be located. And as a papa bear, you can take bow or cradle. You pull up with your belly button and push out with your ankles so that your knees come up and back. and down. Let's come all the way up and back into child's pose.